Good morning. At least it's morning at this moment, and good whatever time it is that you're watching this. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister, Spiritual Leader at the newly joined community Centers for Spiritual Living Communities of Columbia and Greater Baltimore. Today is April 16th, and this is just for today, a time of eclectic readings, sharing of perspectives, meditation, and prayer. So what happens is I just look for something around my office that nudges me, and I open it up, and whatever it lands on is what we look at for the day. So this morning, my attention was drawn to this little book titled At the End of the Day. And so we're going to do it at the beginning of the day. And here's what it opened to. It's a reading titled United Nations Environmental Sabbath Program. We who have lost our sense and our senses, our touch, our smell, our vision of who we are. We who frantically force and press all things, without rest for body or spirit, hurting our earth and injuring ourselves. We call a halt. We want to rest. We need to rest and allow the earth to rest. We need to reflect and to rediscover the mystery that lives in us. It is the ground of every unique expression of life, the source of the fascination that calls all things to communion. We declare a Sabbath, a space of quiet, a simple being and letting be, for recovering the great forgotten truths, for learning how to live again. As one who takes a personal Sabbath day, or at least strives to, every week, the importance of that statement is not lost on me. And honestly, I think it was one of the gifts of the pandemic, is that we globally took a pause. Whether it was forced or not, we took a pause and we saw how there was a healing effect of that on the planet, on the atmosphere. And I think we're still navigating an understanding of that, because I think we're so, what's the word I want? Taking that break, taking that Sabbath, taking that a space of quiet for simple being and letting be, for recovering the great forgotten truths, for learning how to live again. I think we took the pause, but I think we're still in that space of learning how to live again. Many people have shared with me they're really struggling with how to reconnect with humanity, because they got comfortable with the quiet and they got in touch with parts of themselves, parts of the universal truth, parts of creation, parts of life, whatever label we use. They got in touch with things that they had lost touch with. And there's a certain mental fear operating that tells us if we get back engaged with humanity, we will lose those things again. And what if the greater lesson is in the realm of the both and? How to actually be in human connection, in relationship with one another, actively, intentionally, full on, and not forgetting the mystery, not forgetting the truth of life? Are we up for doing both? Um, because I think that's the ultimate healing. But that's just what I think. I I do not have a crystal ball. I am the wizard of nothing. And so what I do is dance with what I think and treat it like a Rubik's Cube and turn it every way I can think of. And sometimes things drop into place, just like all of the colors on the Rubik's Cube. Mostly, I spend a lot of time twisting and turning because there's a lot that doesn't line up in thinking, period, and in my own thinking and in conditioned thinking. And that's the beauty of the journey. I always have something to grow into, something to neutralize, something to activate. And it's when I am able to do that free of judgment that I am filled with joy and awe and wonder in the process. And so I offer you that for this day. Um, yeah. So, anybody have a perspective they would like to share? Okay. If not, I think I'm going to read our reading one more time as we go into our time of meditation and contemplation. So here was the reading again. United Nations Environmental Sabbath Program. We who have lost our sense and our senses, our touch, our smell, our vision of who we are, who are frantically, who frantic, okay, reading take two. We who have lost our sense and our senses, our touch, our smell, our vision of who we are. We who frantically force and press all things, without rest for body or spirit, hurting our earth and injuring ourselves, we call a halt. We want to rest. We need to rest and allow the earth to rest. We need to reflect and to discover the mystery that lives in us, that is the ground of every unique expression of life, the source of the fascination that calls all things to communion. We declare a Sabbath, a space of quiet for simple being and letting be, for recovering the great forgotten truths, for learning how to live again. So let's take that into our time of meditation. And so in this pause, I remember, I recognize one life that is peace, that is power, that is presence, that is omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience. It is diversity. It is creation. It is God. It is Buddha. It is Allah. It is Great Spirit. It is Jesus. It is all people, all things. It is all beliefs. It is all. And every individualization of it, unique, purposeful, intentional, to express a desire of life, to express as exactly what it expresses as. No demand for uniformity. All created in, live in, remain in, will always be in a state of unity. Because in the truth of one, there can be no separation. And so as I pause, as I enter that quiet space of reflection, of communion, I recognize that the only thing to commune with is the essence of life. And in communing with the essence of life, I commune with all of life. And so I allow myself to simply be present with this idea, this reality of one. That everything is impacted by everything. Everyone is impacted by everyone. However, we phrase it in this beautiful, complex thing called language. I claim and affirm that I am aware this day of the inseparable unity of life. And that I cherish that unity, that I move through this day in a way that uplifts and celebrates every expression of life. And knowing that the word spoken is the desire of creation speaking itself into being through the activity of law, I know that it's done. The activity of law, recognizing that it operates without discretion, simply doing the doing of creation, receiving the idea, the impress of desire, and acting upon it to make it so. I know it is done. And so I can let go of all doubt. I can let go of all thought chatter that questions and look for the completion. And so I let go and I step into the vast openness of welcoming, knowing that that which has been spoken is already done. I allow myself to see and experience the fulfillment of that this day. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amin. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.